a sun, the fields are alive. Cheering crowds and the teams collide. In these moments, we stand tall and free. First pride runs deep in me. With every touchdown, we rise and we cheer. Unity and spirit, the heart of the year. Raise your voices, let's make it loud. In Florida's high schools, we're so damn proud. From the bleachers to the end zones go. Football and cheers make our spirits roll. Girls in the game, they're fierce and bright. Flag in hand, they give it their might. From every town they bring their dreams. On this field of gold, nothing's as it seems. Together we shine, together we play. In Florida's heart, we own this day. Raise your voices, let's make it loud. In Florida's high schools, we're so damn proud. From the bleachers to the end zones go. Football and cheers make our spirits grow. So here's to the game, we'll rise and stand. Enthralled and feel, real die.
All right, it is time for the Tampa Bay edition of the Blitz. Coming up here on FullHSFootball.com. Appreciate everybody joining us here as we are live with our fourth of our 5 shows here. And I appreciate everybody joining us here. And there we go. The chat comments are firing away. Is there any Bloodhounds in the house? Because we're going to have Auburndale on here tonight. We're going to have head coach Antonio Thomas joining us here in just a few minutes for our interview here on the Tampa Bay Blitz. And I know Chris is excited for this one because after what happened a couple of weeks ago when Auburndale took down Lake Wells and to put a district win into the win column. I really love what's going on at Auburndale. I mean, the fact that their only losses to Lakeland, and if they were so close on that comeback, they could have beaten Lakeland week 1. And but Polk County, yes, we're spotlighting some Polk County here this week, and Noli, Mark Cannon, I know they've been waiting for it too as well.
Oh yeah, and you got to give it up to Auburndale. We talked about this last week. Auburndale playing a very similar schedule to Jones, and Jones is in that district. So here we go.
And guess what? They have that big game against Jones coming up this week. So that is going. We're gonna find out what is going on with that district. We're gonna learn a lot this week in this district because honestly, it's a really competitive district. When we talk about it, I want to make sure that I'm giving you the right district number. Yes, it's 4A7. Auburndale, Jones, Lake Wells, even Lake Region, they're making some noise as well. But really, at the end of the day, when it comes to it, it's Auburndale right now has made a lot of noise in that district, and Jones, they had 2 big slip ups, and we're gonna find out again what the teams are in this district are really made of here this week.
Yeah, very competitive district outside of Lake Region, but you look at that, there's a lot of questions on how this district is going to play out. So that's going to be fun. That can be fun to watch over the next couple of weeks.
Of course, Auburndale will be at Jones this week on that game. So that game we will not put in our pick 6 until tomorrow night on our Central Florida Blitz. So you'll have to wait for our picks then. So on that one, but it's definitely going to be a big game coming up this week here. But let's get to it here on our Blitz lines here as we roll along here and look back at some of the stuff that has happened here in the Tampa Bay region. Obviously, Polk County is part of that, going all the way over the Pinellas County and then all the way up to Citrus County. along the 589. And as we look at some of the stuff that we had on our picks last week, obviously Auburndale, big win against Bartow to move them to 3-1. And, you know, again, hey, you know.
Yeah.
So huge win right there for Auburndale. Obviously, again, we're talking to Coach Thomas here coming up here in just a few minutes. How about this? Sanford Seminole gave everything in all of its power against Lake Wells, and but Lake Wells coming out on top, and that gives the Highlanders a big win right there against Sanford Seminole, who's drops to 2-3. We'll talk more about Sanford Seminole tomorrow night, but boy, Lake Wells, Sanford Seminole gave them everything they got.
Yeah, Lake Wells is doing pretty good. And
outside the one loss, and that's the Auburndale. So hey, at the end of the day, it's
a full circle here. I mean,
it really is a full circle here, and we'll talk about that game here in just a moment here about the Cardinal Newman Jesuit, because we've got a lot of opinions on that one. Plant and Sumner, boy. Talk about a fight there, but Sumner comes out on top, and hats off to all of us picking on Sumner. But Plant, it was a dogfight. We thought it was going to be a dogfight, and it was a dogfight.
Yeah, it was a dogfight. And Plant, give them credit. They really hung in there, but Sumner, they're surprising a lot of people this year.
No, absolutely. Sumner have been really pretty good, decent team here over the last few years, especially since when they opened. But now it's Sumner really, again, put a good win together, and that will definitely help them in terms of the playoff race. Zephyr Hills golf. Zephyr Hills just ran all over golf. I mean, golf is a good team. Don't get me wrong. The Buccaneers under Sean Epperjesse, good, but Zephyr Hills is proving that right now they may be I wouldn't say maybe. They are the best team in Polk County right now. I mean, especially the fact that Mitchell has now dropped 2 games in a row. There's some concerns there Mitchell's got going on. But I feel like right now, in terms of all the teams, when you look at collectively at Pasco County, it's Zephyr Hills. Then I think River Ridge may be the second team right behind them in that one. So, Teddy, are there any forums for high school football? Yes, there is. FloridaHSFootball.com/forums. Go on there. We have a whole message board on there. Sign up. I do have to manually approve everybody on there because we've had too many spammers trying to get into there. So we have to do manual approvals. But if you haven't signed up here, let me, Chris, I'm gonna go pop that link for them because it's good to hear about it, because I do know that within the last month, there was another message board that had been in the state for a long time, and it is now completely gone. So,
yep. One game that really stood out for me this week was Tampa Catholic beating Mitchell 41-36.
No, it really is. Mark Cannon, yeah, you may be right about trolls, but yes, back to you on that one, on Chris. That one really, I was like, what? When I saw that, I'm like, Tampa Catholic, they hadn't won a game yet, but here they are. They beat Mitchell, and I'm just
Mitchell's been pretty damn good this year. I'm like, what the hell?
I mean, now they've lost to Eastlake. Now you've lost to Tampa Catholic. I've got concerns. I've got some concerns now about Mitchell. But as I said here, I got to tell you, it really comes down to it. It's right now, it's Zephyr Hills basically the best team right now in Pasco County. Cardinal Newman at Jesuit. Oh, boy. Weren't we wrong on that?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Jesuit 31, Cardinal Newman donut. I'm just totally mind blown right now, because there's a couple things you can take away. Obviously, Cardinal Newman, there's a lot there. I mean, we could have talked about it on South Florida Blitz last show, but honestly, Cardinal Newman, Cardinal Newman, there's more things going on with Cardinal Newman than I can figure out right in a second, because they were supposed to be this really honestly, excuse how I'm saying it, really damn good team this year. And Jesuit is still being Jesuit, and Jesuit, obviously Jesuit's looking like they're looking solid. They're going to win their district, I think, hands down. I think they're on the highway already.
Yeah. I mean, there's another game out there I looked at. Eastlake beating Tarpon Springs 35-6. I'm really impressed with Eastlake with how they beat beat the Sponges. That really stunned me how big a margin that was.
And that's good. And for Bob Hudson's crew, it's really good, especially after the last couple of years. They've had some struggles. It's good to see Eastlake back on winning on the upswing again. That's really good. And this game that we really talked about. Oh man, weren't we wrong on Gaither? Weren't we wrong? Tampa Bay Tech. This is how wacky 5 weeks of football has been. You're Tampa Bay Tech. You beat Venice. You lose to Armwood. Now you lose to Gaither. So what's the indictment here, Chris? What kind of indictment do we put on all this in 5 weeks?
I have no idea. I mean, I'm speechless with this.
Because I'm really speechless here because honestly, to me, there's a lot here. Gaither, Tampa Bay Tech. I just don't know what. I mean, some people called it last week. I mean, yeah, Mark, you're right. It's parity, but when we come full circle, is this more Gaither beating Tampa Bay Tech and an indictment on Tampa Bay Tech, or does this got me more of an indictment on Tampa Bay Tech and Venice? How do we loop this all in? Because either beating Tampa Bay Tech, but Tampa Bay Tech beating Venice, obviously there's something in the water here, and I'd like to know what's in the water.
It may be both teams. We've had our questions about Venice, and now we have the same questions about Tampa Bay Tech. So I don't have an answer.
I don't have an answer either here, and it really is mind-boggling to me to think that hey, this is what it's a situation that Tampa Bay Tech is like, oh wow, yeah. There's some questions here, but remember Tampa Bay Tech's starting quarterback transferred out. Well, yes, we know that, but I mean there's a lot shuffling going on here, but at the end of the day, it's still Tampa Bay Tech still got kids, and then that's just it. What? I digress.
Yeah. And there's one other team that we've been talking about over the last few days. It's Armwood. They beat Hillsborough 56-7. And we've got some bones to pick with Armwood. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But anyways, we're going to take our break here, and then we're going to bring in Coach Antonio Thomas from Auburndale, talk about Bloodhounds football here coming up here. We'll be back here in a couple minutes here on the Tampa Bay edition of the Blitz here on FortHSFootball.com.
Box Out gives you the ability to create graphics at the speed of sports to highlight your athletic department, teams, and student athletes in seconds. Used and trusted by Notre Dame, Ohio State, UConn, Marquette, Georgetown, and many more of the top college brands in the country. If you want your school's brand to stand out through all the clutter, start your free demo at boxoutsports.com.
Touchdown! Juggled and caught!
I've been thinking about this for a long time. I thought if that's out there, I want to make sure I see it and I get involved in it because to me, this was music to my ears. I was blown away. When you look at today's kid, the millennium kid, they learn by being able to see it. If I can see it, it's a great chance that I can do it. First Down Playbook is a tool that can essentially change the way we teach the game.
All right, welcome back here to the Tampa Bay edition of the Blitz. Here, Josh Wilson along with Christopher Lykin. Joining us now is the head coach of those 3-1 Auburndale Bloodhounds, Coach Antonio Thomas. Appreciate you joining us here on the show here, Coach. And what a start for the season for y'all. I know y'all, you dropped that first game against Lakeland, and y'all almost came back on that one, but I think the signature win so far for you here, out of the first 5 weeks of the season, is that win over Lake Wells to give y'all 1-0 lead in that district race in 4A7. So, Coach, just talk about building this team up and how they've met that expectation so far. What y'all had and actually exceeded what y'all expected probably this year.
Well, first and foremost, I'm gonna have to go ahead and tell you guys that I think for this team. Let me stop it and say thank you guys for having me on your platform. First and foremost, to get my program exposure, it's a big damn deal for us. Now, for my team, we've been grinding since November. So after our last football game last season, I brought the kids into the weight room, and I said it's only one way we're gonna be able to go get it, and we got to start here. So while a lot of teams were still playing ball, we was in the weight room, putting in work, getting after it. And so, we starting to see a little bit of fruits of our labor. I kind of, in January, I tweeted out that this is the year of the harvest. And, again, these kids, they listen to everything I tell them. They're doing everything, that they're supposed to do to try to be winners. We talk about winning in the classroom. Every week I talk about paying the fee. And what does the fee mean, right? That's focus, that's effort, that's execution, right? And that goes beyond just the football. It goes out in the hallways. We walk around the hallways. We want to execute. We want to be focused. When we in the classroom, same thing. Focus, effort, execution. That's what it's all about. When we get in the weight room, focus, effort, execution. When we're in the film room, we talk about focus, effort, execution. And then obviously at practice, that's what it's all about. Getting these guys ready to play ball. But football is a game of life, and obviously I want them to win in every aspect, not just the game. So I'm trying to push that brand. And again, I appreciate you having me on your platform.
No, appreciate it, Coach. Coach, you're an Auburndale alum through and through. You bleed that blue and gold every single day, and you graduated there in 2013. Went on to play college football, but Coach, talk about the role being able to step back into your alma mater, being able to just be there because it's an opportunity not everybody gets, and when this opportunity came about for you, it obviously was huge for you. So just talk about that, being able to step into this role, and given there's a lot of legacy, a lot of history that Auburndale has.
Well, I got my first head coaching start at Auburndale. As a wrestling coach. I also wrestle here. So, and I think that's where my mentality comes from. Like, we're willing to challenge anybody because, I was in the district with Brandon High School. If you know anything about Florida wrestling.
Oh, yes, Brandon.
Brandon High School, and I was in the district with Lake Gibson High School. And so, it's not like, I was not able to duck, what they like to call smoke, right? You can't, it ain't no running in that district. And if you're going to be competitive, you got to come with it, And so that's kind of the mentality I done brought into football. Like, we're not going to run from the competition. We're going to embrace the competition. I want these kids to be in these big-time games. I want them to embrace playing these big-time teams, because ultimately, that's the direction we want this program to go. I got a lot of respect for Coach Johnson and Coach Frazier and even Jones head coach. A lot of respect for what these guys are doing for their programs. But at the end of the day, I want Auburndale to be in the mix, and so that's what I'm trying to do here at Auburndale, is teach these kids, that we can play football with anybody. We put our pants on just like they do, and we bleed just like they do. So we can bring it just like they can. So, that's ultimately what I'm trying to, get these kids in my community to understand.
No, absolutely.
You guys had that big win against Lake Wells in week 2, and then you've been on a roll ever since. Talk about your program, how you progressed over the last 3 weeks, And we've compared your schedule with Jones, and it seems to be a very similar track between the two schools. Talk about that, and also talk about the game against Jones coming up.
All right, so obviously, we scheduled Lakeland High School. It was a game that hadn't been played in Polk County in a long time, and so we wanted to give our kids. I thought, like I said, I thought these kids worked very hard, this offseason, and they should be in games like that. And so what I did was I took the team off the schedule from last year, and I put Lakeland on our schedule because I know, in today's game, it's all about strength of schedule. You can go 2-9, and as long as your strength of schedule is there, it's gonna put you in the playoffs. And for us, our strength of schedule didn't put us in the playoffs last year, even though we had a 6-4 finish. So I wanted to make sure we put somebody tougher on the schedule, that's going to challenge our kids. Now, unfortunately for us, in that ball game, we hadn't played a full game going into that game. Our kickoff classic was canceled, and so a lot of the mistakes we made in that ball game early, was due to the lack of playing on the field, game experience. So, again, I know that program went down south, and, they was able to learn from that playing, down south. And, we didn't have that experience going into that game. So, I think that we grew a lot, at halftime. One thing, we're going to try to do is minimize the mistakes. One thing I really harped on this team was like, look, man, we gave them 4 touchdowns. We gave it to them. And so, again, that's one of the things that we're trying to continuously clean up as a program. It's not have those mental blocks and turn the ball over and give the other team, great field position. Let's make them earn it. That's kind of been the mantra, make them earn it. You had to earn it. You had to earn it to wear this blue and gold. So let's make them earn it. That's kind of what it is. And, that's kind of our mentality going into every game, going forward, and like I say, that Lakeland game was big for us because, again, like I say, we came out the second half and, I just stress execution. Let's try to go out here and execute, and I preach to my team, we're not playing this game, for 48 minutes. We're going 24-24. So, focus on the 24 minutes that you have available to play ball. Don't worry about the last 24. Focus on the 24 minutes that you have left. So in that game, it was all about just, hey, we still have 24 minutes to play football. Let's play to the best of our ability for that 24. Now, as far as going into Jones game, I mean, it's, like I said, it's a great program. They coming off a state runner-up appearance. Same thing, just like Lakeland. They got the athletes. They got the athletes. The quarterback. He's committed to Miami. They got a wide receiver that's committed to Nebraska. They got a couple, a few more athletes over there. I think an offensive tackle committed to Colorado. I think he was committed to Florida State. And obviously, I've done my scouting report on him. Very good program, very good team, well coached. Our last few meetings that we went up against them, they definitely they gave it to us, both appearances. But, in each appearance, I felt like we didn't have the preparation. And when I say that, a few years back when I was a defensive line coach and we played them in the playoffs in the second round, we had kids getting in trouble in school, getting work details and stuff like that. And so that's the type of stuff that I'm trying to minimize as the head coach, because I know that type of stuff can plague you, And then last season, we had the hurricane. We didn't prepare for them at all last season. And so that was, we just kind of went in head first and played them. And, they came in here and they blew us out. We was at home, from Tuesday to Saturday, with no practice, And so, again, obviously when you play a team like that, you have to prepare. If you don't prepare, the separation is in the preparation with a team like that. If you don't prepare, you're gonna get ripped up, and that's just what it is. They have so much talent and they're well coached. So, it's for us. I'm very excited to see what we can do against them, because again, I know that they're very well coached, and it's they're a very good team. And again, like I said, that's one of the things I stress. We want to play good ball clubs. We don't want to hide from the competition.
No, absolutely. I know you got some guys standing out, but defensively, I mean, Elijah Diaz, I mean, looking at his stats right this second, and man, he's putting up some numbers. But talk about some of the other guys as well that, you know, with that maybe not getting his dimension, but you know, they're basically performing so well out there, they really should be getting their mentions.
Well, I know y'all probably looking at my offensive stats, and you know, I can't get into max prep for whatever reason.
Oh boy,
get those stats in there. And I apologize to the Lakeland Ledger because they keep hitting me up about stats. But the biggest thing is my freshman quarterback. I mean, he's thrown for about 700 yards this season so far. You know, my running backs. I got a kind of trio of backs who can tote the load. I got a receiver. I got 2 receivers, you know, that currently have, you know, Division I offers. Darion Giles, he's currently committed to Southern Miss, and then I got TK Edwards. You know, he's gonna blow up this offseason for sure. Great route runner he is. And his brother is our quarterback, T.O. Edwards. But you know, offensively, we got some guys that can play. And you know, I think that, like I say, I'm very excited to see what we can do, you know, up against the Jones team. I think my quarterback play is a lot better this season than it was last season. Even though he is a 9th grader, he's definitely performing and he's definitely competing. You know, I think that, you know, we're a year older in the receiver room, so I think that, you know, routes are being ran a little bit better. You know, and then my offensive line is a year older. You know, each of these guys came back from last season. So, you know, we kind of got some experience up front on the O-line. You know, I think the things that we got to clean up is obviously our pass protection. But, I mean, we got, you know, I'm interested in seeing what they're able to bring to the table this week. Now, defensively, we got a UConn commit at defensive end named James Tillis. You know, he's a guy that we're going to have to lean on to come in and play his best game. Obviously, Elijah Diaz, you know, formerly committed to USF. You know, just Elijah Diaz is a special player. He's been on varsity since the 9th grade, you know, and for him, you know, he's been a ball player. I mean, he's probably been all state, you know, all county, you know, everything you can think of, you know, extremely fast at the linebacker position. So, you know, again, I think for us, he's going to have to play a big role. I got a kid named Charles Calhoun, who's a Mike linebacker, who's probably going to blow up on a lot of people's radars, and a lot of colleges are going to be offering and different things like that coming up here soon. He's been playing extremely well for us on that linebacker group. In my secondary, I have Jordan Tarver, who's currently committed to Bowling Green, you know, who's kind of one of the leaders on the back end. I have a kid named David Best, who is he's an underdog. You know, he's an underdog. I ended up getting David Best into the Elite 11 quarterback camp to cover receivers. And he was able to go up against one of the receivers at Jones, the kid that's committed to Nebraska. And he was able to put the clamps on him, as they say. So, you know, again, a kid like that, we're interested in seeing what he can do for us this week. And again, like I said, my defense, you know, they've been playing lights out for us. You know, they've been playing lights out. So, you know, just like I said, I know we're going to be battle tested this week. And this is what you want to see midway through the season. How you going to respond? You know, how do we respond? You know, and how do we respond? Because I understand that, you know, they have a lot of explosive kids on their team, you know, having the Buchholz transfer, you know, come over, who caught for 1,000 yards last season, who's actually from this area. He's actually from Polk County, who grew up right here in Lake Alfred playing youth football. You know, I know the quarterback, he's from Polk County. You know, he grew up right there in Fort Meade, you know, playing against a lot of our kids, you know, growing up. The kicker over there, he's from Polk County. So, you know, it's I know that for us, you know, it's a lot of familiar faces on that field, going to be on that field. And like I say, I'm real interested in seeing what we can do against this team. Because this game for us is really going to show me who we are, you know, how much we need to improve, you know, and, you know, hopefully we get the opportunity to get into that playoff this year and, you know, be able to showcase what we can do, you know, down the stretch. So, you know, very interested in seeing, you know, how this game goes. Very excited for it.
No, absolutely, Coach. And again, a lot there. We could go on for hours talking about Auburndale and everything. But Coach, it sounds like very exciting times, and obviously, and for a lot of the fans there in Auburndale, it's good to see what they're that the team is on a roll here, and we'll obviously know more about what everything is going to be. Obviously, as you said it, you're going to know more about your team when come Friday night when you go up against Jones there in Orlando.
Well, I know this. I know this. Nobody's giving us a chance to win. And so, that's the beauty of it, right? Nobody's giving you a chance. So what are you going to do?
Yep.
Nobody's giving you a chance.
No, absolutely. I understand that, Coach, and definitely wish y'all the best of luck here coming up here on Friday night there at 7:00 at Jones, and it'll be exciting. We'll be watching what the Bloodhounds do for the rest of the season, and we definitely wish y'all the best of luck here for not only this week but for the remainder of the season.
Well, I appreciate it.
No, absolutely, and thank you for coming on out of your busy schedule, and we'll talk to you more soon.
All righty, go Hounds.
All right, appreciate it. That was head. Oops, the thing right there. Hit the wrong button there. There we go. That was head coach Antonio Thomas there, joining us from Auburndale. And Auburndale. Again, I know he says I don't think he says a lot of people not giving him a chance. I think they got a chance. I think they have a chance.
Yeah, I do too. I think they got a real good chance.
No, absolutely. I agree with you. And I think there's a really good chance here that, Auburndale can win that district title this year just because the way everything has gone this year and what we've seen out of Jones. There's questions about Jones. And that's the big thing I think. That pick will be on our pick 6 tomorrow night for Central Florida, obviously, because Jones is the host. So it's going to go in the Central Florida Blitz because we got 6 games for the pick 6 here. And since we're running kind of short on time here, we're going to roll right into that with the pick 6 here going into it here, Chris. It is time for the pick 6. And with that said here, we've got it's gonna give me a fit here with the pick 6 on there this week, but all right, there we go. We'll just do it this way. All right, our first game up on the pick'ems. It's Countryside 3-2 versus River Ridge 5-0. River Ridge a 14-point favorite, giving them a 90% chance according to the Florida Power Rankings Index. Boy, where do we go with this one, Chris?
Give me River Ridge. They've been rolling real good, and I don't see any reason to see that not continue.
No, absolutely. I'm going River Ridge as well. Countryside is definitely much improved under head coach A.J. Sattinger, but River Ridge, they're just good. River Ridge is just really, really good right now, and I gotta say, it's a situation that I don't think it's gonna be tough for Countryside to overcome. So give me River Ridge, give me the Royal Knights for the win here in this one. I probably agree with the computer what it's saying here in terms of what the margin of victory should be here. All right, our second game up here on the pick 6 is Mitchell and Lando Lakes. Big key critical district game here for both the Mustangs and the Gators. Mitchell has dropped 2 games after starting off season 3-0. So Lando Lakes, huge game here. And the computer is favoring Lando Lakes here by 13. Lando Lakes, 87% chance of winning this game.
Yeah, I agree with the computer. Lando Lakes should win this game, especially after what Mitchell did last week. I got some questions about the Mustangs. So give me Lando Lakes.
Yeah, I got Lando Lakes as well. I got some questions there, and you know what? Give me the butter. As Mark Cannon would say, Mark Cannon says butter. He's picking Lando Lakes. Give me the butter. Yes, I'll take the butter for the win.
I'm not going to comment on
that. All right, our next game is another key critical district game. It's Gulf 2-2 versus Clearwater 2-2. Gulf a 7-point favorite over the Tornadoes. This is maybe where I'm hesitating a little bit out of the computer here in this one, but Gulf 2-2 versus Clearwater 2-2. Boy, Buccaneers versus Tornadoes. Where do we go on this one?
Give me Clearwater because it's a home game for Clearwater.
All right. I want to take Gulf, but I know a couple of people over on that Gulf coaching staff, but I think Clearwater is a much better team in this situation here. But if the Gulf wins this one, this puts them in a good driver's seat. But Nolly's going Gulf. So, and Mark Cannon says butter is good on pizza. Get out of here. Really?
No.
We may need to check Mark Cannon's pulse here because I'm concerned now. Just
No.
kidding. Just kidding. All right. A big critical 1A District 7 game is Carrollwood Day versus Lakeland Christian, 3-0. For Carrollwood Day, Lakeland Christian 4-1. Look at that forecast line. Lakeland Christian, a 1-point favorite over Carrollwood Day. Lakeland Christian, a 54% chance on winning this game. Oh, boy. Where do we go with this one?
This is one of those games I think I had circled on the calendar. Give me Lakeland Christian.
Wow, going Lakeland Christian. Okay, so you're going with the boy. This one's tough, but you know what? Reno's going with Lakeland Christian. Give me Carrollwood Day for the win here. I think the pay. I don't know what's happening there. Okay, there we go. Oh man, whew. Nobody's going Lakeland Christian, but I'm going Carrollwood Day. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, our fifth game is Plant 2-3 versus Armwood 5-0. Armwood a 27-point favorite, giving Armwood a 99% chance.
Give me Armwood.
Do we really need to go through this one?
Yeah, give me Armwood, but it's going to be closer than people think.
Give me Armwood a lot, Plant a little. There's my answer. Reno going Armwood. All right, and then our sixth pick, it is Plant City 5-0 versus Sumner 4-1, and Sumner a 7-point favorite, giving Sumner a 75% chance of winning this game.
Whew. Give me Sumner because it's at Sumner. Plant City, great program, great start to season, but they're gonna come away with a loss in this one.
I like Plant City, but I feel like Sumner has played the tougher schedule. Give me Sumner in this one, but Reno is taking Plant City, so we'll see if Reno is right on that one or not here. But give me Sumner. Chris is taking Sumner, and looks like in the chat, Sumner is the pick as well. So, well, with that said here, that is the pick 6 for week number 6. Wow. All right. With that said here, we got to wrap this up because we've got our 5th show. We got the overtime show, which is the Drive the State show, Chris.
Yeah, finally getting overtime game.
We'll be back on. We're going to probably come on around 10:15. So we'll be on, get everything ready to go for y'all for that. And then we'll be here for Drive the State. Yes, it is week 6 already. Time flies, right, Chris?
Oh yeah, we don't have the DeLorean, so
yeah,
that's the sad part.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll be back here in just a few minutes for the Drive the State show here on FloatHSFootball.com. We'll be right back right after this. Thanks, y'all, for watching the Tampa Bay edition of the Blitz.